My guest is Stan Kasten. He is the president, CEO, and part owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers have won 3 world championships this decade: 2020, 2024, and 2025. Stan, thanks so much for joining me on Sports Business Radio. How are you?
I'm great, Bryan. Good to be here.
I marvel at the excellence of the Dodgers. 13 years in a row in the playoffs. The first Major League Baseball team to gross $1 billion in revenue. How do you maintain this excellence for as long as you have?
Well, everything starts with having good people, letting them do their job. And that's true in our case on the business side and on the baseball side. We believe in working hard. We believe in seeking out innovations and even leading in innovations. So at the same time, we came in here with a lot of pluses that other people don't have. We came in here with 60 years of fans embracing this team, embracing everything they had done, everything they stood for. And yet that was also a challenge because unlike other places you might go, other places I've been where you have to start from square one, we couldn't do that here because fans, deserved better. They deserved what the Dodgers stood for, which is contending every year. And so it was both a challenge, but also a tremendous advantage to have that kind of support immediately. It was never hard attracting the best in class talent here. That goes for on the business side and also on the player side. One last thing, we were blessed with having a 60-year-old stadium that it's old, but it really works still to this day. It's never going to be a new stadium, but we were able to grow into a 21st century experience because of the great job the O'Malley family did when they first got here. So all those things led to just a wonderful set of circumstances that has allowed us to take advantage of all of them.
I want to get into the stadium experience later in the interview, but you have a remarkable journey personally. You were 27 years old in 1979 when you were hired by Ted Turner to run the Atlanta Hawks. You've worked closely with Ted Turner and the Atlanta teams. You work closely with the Lerners and the Washington Nationals. How has working closely with ownership helped you navigate your career?
Well, you can't do it without support of great owners. That doesn't mean rubber stamping everything you do. And that doesn't mean they're all the same. Every different market I've been in had its unique challenges and unique opportunities. We had the challenge in Atlanta of having been a bad team for a very long time. But we had an advantage of the Superstation, which was growing fans of this very bad team all across America. And so we were able to leverage that into growing what it finally became. In Washington, I had a similar challenge in that they hadn't had any baseball for 32 years.
Right.
So we did have to grow fans one at a time. And it was virtually an expansion team. It had very little minor league infrastructure. So that's going to be time consuming. And then here, as I said, we had opportunities and we had a lot of blessings, but a lot of the challenges that come with very, very high expectations, the highest expectations, which is for us to contend every year. And so none of that could have been accomplished without support of ownership. And I've been lucky to have that wherever I've been.
I'm interested too. So ownership has changed now. It used to be you had the singular owner, the Ted Turner, the Lerners. Now there's these syndicates because teams are so expensive. The Dodgers have a controlling owner, but then they have a syndicate of other owners. How do you manage all the wants and needs of the syndicate instead of, again, you just had one owner to serve the needs of previously?
Well, it helps to win every year. I don't have any trouble with this so-called syndicate, but even in this case, it's one vote. No one else has a vote. It's Mark Walter.
Right.
And Mark Walter delegates everything to me and through me to the rest of the organization. I will go weeks or even months without hearing from Mark because he's doing bigger, more important things than us. But he's never far away from a score. He loves this team. He loves all the teams that we own. And so it has not been a challenge. We happen to be blessed in LA with a wonderful group, mixed, diverse people who are personal friends of Mark, who are from other businesses, some of whom are big sports personalities like Billie Jean, Alana, and Magic. And as I said, because we've done pretty well, we have no trouble getting along with everyone.
Let's talk about the business of the generational athlete that you have on your team, Shohei Ohtani. Just unbelievable. I mean, I could argue that it's the best signing in the history of pro sports with what he's meant to your team on and off the field. Since he's come on board, how has that changed your business? I mean, I get the announcements. I'm on your press release list. I see the new sponsors that you're signing and the new opportunities that he's brought you. But maybe as the person running the Dodgers, you can just describe how he's changed your business, not only in Los Angeles, but globally.
Well, I tell people that whenever we talked about signing a top level free agent, the marketing people will say, "Oh, this guy will be great. He'll add $5 or $10 million to our business." That's crap. It's never true. They're always overestimating that. That's not how that works because baseball isn't a sport where one guy moves the needle. With very, very few exceptions, and Shohei is that exception. They wildly underestimated his impact, and so did I. I could not have, remember, he was playing 30 miles down the road
Right.
For 6 years, so we couldn't tell for sure. But the unique combination of the stature of the Dodgers and the Dodger brand and the stature of Shohei and his brand, combined with a really, really good competitive team, is baseball putting its best foot forward. This is the best baseball can do to show itself off. You call Shohei a generational talent. I guess as a shorthand, that'll work, but he's much more than that. Is he the greatest player ever? I mean, he's only played for like 10 years so far, so let's give him a few more years, but you're going to have to, any list of greatest players ever is going to have to start with him because he's so different.
I listened to one of your other interviews and you said something where I sat up in my seat and I was like, oh my gosh. You said 30% of the Japanese people who visit Los Angeles come to a Dodgers game, and in large part because they want to see Shohei Ohtani.
Or get on our tour. And now we do tours in 4 languages, 365 days a year. It's a big business. And they stop in our store. In January, our stores open every day. And before Shohei got here, we would do about $3,000 a day in the store. And Shohei's first offseason, we did $30,000 a day. So he has an impact that we could not have predicted. Naturally, if you go to Japan, you get a better sense of his stature because he's everywhere on every billboard and every commercial spot. But to combine that with his skills on the field and to combine those things with his personality as a great, great teammate, people call me unicorn. I think that's a better description than merely a generational talent.
I mean, his contract was, I think, 10 years, $700 million. Is it safe to say that he's already paid for his contract? It seems from afar that he's done that, but with sponsorships, ticket sales, $30,000 a day in merchandise in the team shop, it seems like he's paid for his contract already.
Well, I don't like to think of players in crass terms like that. Let me just say, in year 1, the cash portion of his contract was $2 million, and he safely cleared that hurdle. Let's just leave it at that.
Do you have more plans you've played games in Japan. I know you have 3 very high profile Japanese players on your team. How are you continuing this unique relationship with Japan by playing games there, having Japanese come to your ballpark? How do you see that growing in the future?
Well, we think we've set the groundwork for it to start growing by itself. We do have 3 players who play for us. 2 of them, 2.5 of them are pitchers. And so they don't play every day. Shohei thankfully does. Um, and so people are already watching our games whenever they can get them. And so we have a generation of Japanese fans growing up as Dodger fans. We have talked to baseball about opening stores, and they have started to begin do that. They didn't do that before, because remember, baseball owns all of our trademarks outside of the LA area. That's owned by Central Baseball, so they have to do those things, and all travel outside our market is orchestrated by baseball. And the other teams don't want the Dodgers traveling every year, and they shouldn't. We need to spread the wealth around and get people to be fans of all of our teams. And so we're not hurrying to go out to other countries. It's always a challenge. It's a rough trip for, and then to go back into spring training and then start the season. But yes, you should expect us to make other trips. I don't know when, I don't know how many, but baseball is always eager for us to do it. We just have to be mindful that we've got a bigger sport than just one team.
It's an interesting point you bring up about how baseball controls the marks. I mean, it seems like Shohei in the last few years has become the face of Major League Baseball, as should be the case. But that's got to help the Dodgers too when he's out there being pushed out by the MLB marketing machine as well.
Yeah, but we have other stars.
Sure.
Let's keep that in mind. We've got Aaron Judge and we've got Bryce Harper and on and on and on. And we've got big time people in our sport. I'm hoping that the exposure that we get, which maybe starts with looking in on Shohei, also starts to get people to think about other teams. Hey, people in this country and in others like to adopt underdogs. And if we play a team that isn't doing well, maybe someone will want to become a fan of that team. So, we all went through that as we were becoming sports fans. So our exposure is good. Of course, it's good for us, but it's really, really good for baseball because it's a level of exposure we didn't have before. And we are working hard. Baseball is working hard on making that even more widespread in the very near future.
All right, let's talk about Dodger Stadium. Last year, you broke the 4 million mark in attendance. So impressive. I went to Loyola Marymount in Los Angeles. I've been to Dodger Stadium many times. I went a couple years ago and saw some of your upgrades. Maybe you can tell our audience about some of those upgrades, and are there any more planned in the future?
Well, when I got here, you knew that it was an iconic historic franchise and an iconic historic stadium. But when you're using the words iconic and historic to refer to plumbing and wiring, that's not a good thing. And we had original equipment here still. As someone once said to me, you plug in one more toaster stand, the whole stadium blows. So we had to upgrade that right away. We took out seats on every level to decrease the capacity, but it widened the concourses, which was desperately needed for a stadium that's selling out every night. You couldn't move on the concourses. We modernized the bathrooms. We did things like that. What we did 6 years ago was we added the things that had been missing for so many years for the modern fan. That is, we took 2.5 acres beyond the pavilions, which had been parking lots and dumpsters, and we made it an entertainment area with food and novelties and kids areas and history and music and video that didn't exist before. And if you come to a ball game 1 hour before the game, that area is packed with people who had nothing to do beforehand except sit in their seat if they got there early. So as I said, we're very proud that we continue to revere this classic stadium that still works in terms of sight lines. We didn't change the look of the bowl at all, so that if you were sitting in your seat in 1962, it still looks the same, as familiar and comfortable as it ever did. But beyond the seating bowl, it is a brand new 21st century experience that we are very proud of. It's been incredibly well received due to thoughtful planning led by Janet Marie Smith, but also an army of other people helping her come up with our final product.
I was fortunate enough to sit on the club level when I was there a couple of years ago, and I love what you've done to outline the rich history of the Dodgers, the pictures, the artifacts.
We don't like blank spaces on walls. We call it a walking outdoor museum. That's what because we understand our brand is Jackie Robinson. It's Sandy Koufax. It's Fernando Valenzuela. It's on and on and on and on. When we did the center field plaza, the most prominent thing we did, I used to discuss it with Janet, as great as Dodger Stadium is, we don't have a front door. We don't have a main entrance. That did not exist. And we built a main entrance, a ceremonial entrance, and you are greeted by statues of Jackie Robinson and Sandy Koufax. That's how you are greeted now at the grand entrance to Dodger Stadium. And we thought that was a very special statement about who we are and what we believe in.
Well, you've done an incredible job with the updates and renovations. The other thing I really noted, I've been to a lot of sporting events in my life, as I know you have. I've never been to a sporting event where literally every single person in attendance had some type of Dodger gear on, a hat, a jersey, a t-shirt. The old players, the new players, it was unbelievable. I said to my friend that I was with, I'd like to have just the merchandise take from one night, because you guys probably lead the league in merchandising.
Yeah, and everything. Yeah. Awful lot of 17s. A lot of 17 jersey. Used to be 5 for Freddie and 50 for Mookie, and they still sell a lot too, but we sell an awful lot of number 17s. I'll tell you an interesting stat that I was surprised at myself. Everyone in Los Angeles has a Dodger hat, right? I mean, everyone. If you go to the game, you have a Dodger hat, you bring it with you.
Right.
And yet we still sell Dodger hats every night. How many? 4,000 hats every night. That's the average over the course of a season. That's impossible. Why are we selling that many? But that's what we sell consistently. So keeping merchandise fresh with some different colors and different designs, that's all part of the thing that all of us in baseball do. We all borrow from each other. We work hard at best practices. Central Baseball does a good job of all of that. And it's certainly benefiting us. It's a big part of our business.
The other thing I've noticed that you guys do too is the giveaways, the premium giveaways, the bobbleheads, the collectibles, things like that. I think you guys do that as well as anyone. And when you have Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman on your team, people want those collectibles.
Well, the truth is, as an investment, it does keep people coming here. It also enables us to make more revenue because those nights are more popular, which drives up the price on the dynamic pricing model that we use. So it's something that pays off for our fans and it pays off for us. And so we lead baseball in giveaways, and people say, gee, why? The Dodgers don't need to do it. And that may be true, but we think it's smart business practice to do it because it generates more fans at a higher price point, which also makes them happier. All of those things are good.
I want to ask you a few Major League Baseball league questions. So you guys have one of the best media rights deals in all of Major League Baseball. Obviously, you've got a new collective bargaining agreement on the horizon. How would you like to see, from where you sit, if you were in charge of everything, how would you like to see media rights, local media rights, handled in the future?
Well, I can't really say much about that because the RSN model appears broken, and that has undergirded everything the sport has done for, say, the last 20, 25 years, which I know firsthand from being in Atlanta when the Superstation was just starting. I don't know what the future holds for the RSN model in the United States. Are we going to be able eventually to centralize our TV rights like the other sports already have done to make us more available as a product for our fans around the country, more widespread on network television more frequently, which will give any fan anywhere an opportunity to see games without blackouts? I think that's our goal. I think if we ever achieve that, whether it's through collective bargaining or otherwise, that will be good for fans who no longer have to endure blackouts. And it'll be good, obviously, for teams and players because it should mean more revenue coming in. And that's what I hope for, but to lay out a specific plan, I can't do that yet because there is still so much uncertainty in the marketplace, both because of the uncertainty between RSNs and direct to consumer, and then, of course, the uncertainty about what the future collective bargaining agreement looks like.
What about the overall financial structure of Major League Baseball? You've got teams with payrolls over $300 million, and you've got teams with payrolls of $80 million. Again, as someone who runs a franchise, you're blessed with the $300 million plus payroll. Do you want to see more parity, or would you rather have it stay the way it is?
No, we have said that we think the game could use more competitiveness. We think there are 10 or 15 teams whose fans tell us at the start of the year their team has no chance. I don't know if that's true or not. I do know our fans and customers' perceptions are that, and that's our problem. Whether it's true or not is secondary to the fact that our fans believe that our game is structured such that the bottom half have no chance. We need to fix that. We need to do better. I think we can, and I think we can do better in a way that produces more revenue, which again will be good for players. And I hope we achieve that kind of outcome.
All right, some real innovations in Major League Baseball in the last few years. The pitch clock, which I absolutely love, and then ABS, which got implemented this year. Again, as someone who runs a Major League Baseball team, what are you seeing? What are you hearing about these changes?
Well, the two you've mentioned have been wildly popular, long overdue. I mean, we could see why the game was being lengthened by players getting out of the box every freaking pitch. They didn't do that in the 50s or 60s. And so that was a fix that seemed controversial or really wasn't and never should have been. ABS, the oldest tradition in baseball is yelling, kill the umpire. Fans have been upset about umpires, but they are in every sport, by the way, having been in a bunch of them. We found a way to deliver to fans something that they like. And Rob Manfred said something interesting a while ago. We've added a minute to our game. It's a minute longer since the advent of ABS. But he says, but if we're adding a minute of things that fans like, that's good. And fans have been very, very receptive, very much supportive of the new ABS system.
Has the pitch clock changed kind of the business? It's like, hey, the game is moving so quickly. We need to sell this faster, or we need to sell beer faster, whatever it is. Because I've gone to some games and it does move a lot faster. And you look at your clock and you're like, it's already the seventh inning.
It does, but on the margins. And the trade-off is easily worth it. The fact that fans don't need to linger there for 3.5 hours or more, it has been wildly popular. And yes, it means some games end earlier. That's also a good thing. And when fans think they can get out in 2.5 hours, be there, get out, get home earlier, that's good for our business overall. And so, yes, it has caused some changes to the way and the timing of how we sell some food, but it's a tremendously positive trade-off for us.
Couple more questions. You're in Los Angeles. Obviously, now your owner also owns the Lakers, but it's such a competitive landscape. There's so much going on, not just sports, but you got the beaches and you've got Hollywood and things like that. You guys are an iconic franchise, but what are you, other than winning, what are you doing to stand out? And especially with young people who are consuming things differently on their phones and their attention span is very short.
Well, first of all, our market is big enough that all of those teams could sell out simultaneously on a night when the product merits it. So I'm not worried about that. When we came in here, my philosophy on sports franchises or companies in general, 3 things we focus on: our product, our customer, our brand. That's when I talk to corporations. When I talk to sports teams, it's our team on the field or ice or court. It's the stadium experience, which is our customer. And then our brand is what we do in community relations, what we do to seal our bond with our fans, with our customers, so that their fans, even when we're having a downtime or when they see a promotion or a discount, they're more apt to take advantage of it because of the connection we've made with them away from the stadium. And we consider all those things to be very important. Everyone who works there knows those 3 things because they hear about it from me endlessly. But I think those things work, as I said, for any team and for any company.
All right, we've got a few minutes left. I've got to ask you about Ted Turner. my condolences to you because I know you were close. Ted Turner hired you, like I said earlier, when you were 27 years old. What were some of the lessons that you learned from Ted Turner that have helped you throughout your career?
Well, I think Ted was he was unique in that he had a hand in all parts of society, business, international relations, media, as well as sports. And there aren't many guys or any who could say that. He took big swings and he encouraged all of us to take big swings. I will say that has been something I have continued to think about my whole career. He did a lot of things that failed. But when he succeeded wildly. And that was our history. We went to the playoffs 14 years in a row in Atlanta. And that's why we're chasing that record this year in Los Angeles. But, aiming for the upside, don't worry about the mistakes you might make along the way. If they're sincere mistakes, if it's a mistake of trying too hard, that's okay. If it's a mistake of laziness, none of us would survive in that environment. But if you're trying really hard to do the right thing, you can get away with some mistakes because the payoff at the end of the day will be bigger.
He clearly trusted you because he had you run all of his teams.
It's a ridiculous idea. It was a stupid idea then. It remains a stupid idea, but what can I say?
Can you share your best Ted Turner story? I know that you've shared a lot since he passed, but maybe there's a fresh one that's popping into your head right now that you can share.
No, I mean, the best ones are stories I can't tell, as you could imagine. But I will say this about the guy. We talk about a Renaissance man, and that term is thrown around. But in the latter part of the 20th century, I remember very clearly one day that he was announcing there was going to be a new TV program on PBS, and so he had a write-up in the media section. He was declaring a stock dividend or something, so he was in the business section. There was some more talk about his America Cup exploits, so that was in the sports section. And then, of course, the lead in the paper was something outrageous he had just said to infuriate a lot of people. On his own accomplishment, he had made all 4 sections of the newspaper on the same day.
Wow.
I don't know anyone else who could have done that, who was in a position to do that, but that's who he was. And living through those times was pretty exciting.
Well, Stan, I appreciate your time. How much longer do you want to keep doing this? I mean, I imagine when you're successful, it's hard to take your foot off the gas, but you've had such an amazing career. Do you ever think about just riding off into the sunset?
I don't. I mean, I think about it, but I never think about it too seriously because, as you said, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't doing this. I think I'd find something to do, but I don't have any plans anytime soon.
Stan Kasten, the president, CEO, and part owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Thank you so much for joining me on Sports Business Radio, and continued success to you.
Thank you, Bryan. Good to talk to you.